Hello and welcome back to Life in Recovery. Did you know that frogs can't swallow with their eyes open? Today I want to do a quick video about applying to university. So this video is about how best to go about applying to university if you have extenuating circumstances in your life that mean you don't have the normal qualifications or life experience that you would expect to have at your stage. And you might be wondering what I mean by extenuating circumstances, and really anything that has prevented you from studying or living to your full potential could be classed as an extenuating circumstance. So if you've been in jail, if you've been bereaved, if you are in the care system, or you've been a primary carer for someone who's been unwell, or if you've been unwell yourself. So this video might, if you fit into any of those categories or many other sort of circumstances, this video might hopefully help you understand how to present this information to your universities of choice. So firstly, I'd like to start off by saying that applying to university is, well, it can be quite a daunting experience for people, and it's a really important decision if that's the decision you want to take. Obviously university isn't for everybody, and it can be quite a confusing and complicated process, and all the more so if you have a complex background. And I certainly have found it a little bit more of a tricky path to navigate than I'd expected, having been ill for so long and being that much older than the average person applying to university. And hopefully this video will be able to reassure you that just because you may not have led the easiest or the most conventional or traditional life, universities do take this into account, and their doors are not closed to you. So I'm going to be trying to talk from a more general point of view, but bearing in mind that my personal experience of an extenuating circumstance is that I was very ill for years and years. But hopefully this information will be able to apply to any sort of circumstance. I'd like to actually start off by saying that this is something that I struggled with. It was admitting that I needed to explain myself and my lack of qualifications and experiences. I felt like I didn't want to use my illness as an excuse or present myself as a victim in any way. So I found it quite hard to have to write about that I'd been ill and try and explain stuff away. It was quite uncomfortable for me. But the truth is that the reason I was applying at the stage I was, and the reason for the gaping holes in my formal education, are because I had been ill. So I needed to explain that, I needed to get that across. And admissions tutors aren't going to magically know that you've been ill or that you have a valid reason for the gaps in your CV or anything. So if you want your application to be looked at in the round, with everything taken into consideration, you are going to have to let them know. Don't be ashamed of your past, or that you're a little different from the average applicant. You're not making excuses for yourself. nor are you giving them a sob story. You're allowing them to see that there were circumstances beyond your control that really impacted and interrupted your life. So what's the best way to go about letting universities know of your extenuating circumstances? Well, first things first, I would get a short list of the universities you want to apply to and then email them. I would briefly outline your specific circumstance and then ask them if they have a form that you could fill out that would mean that you could explain exactly what happened and what this meant. This form may also come under the title Mitigating Circumstances. I have found that most universities don't actually have a standard form, but they do allow you to send them or attach documents to your application for consideration. I've never ever had a response from a university that said they don't allow you to add extra information to your UCAS application. So hopefully that should hearten those of you who are a bit nervous or a bit concerned that that it'll be a complete no. I've never had that response. So once you know what each university requires, make a list so that you don't forget which university needs which document or in what way they prefer. Some prefer by post, some prefer by email. They vary a lot. And I would strongly recommend that you get an appropriate third party to corroborate your particular circumstance. So a letter from a doctor or a teacher would usually do the trick. And the other things I would recommend is that you do briefly mention the specific circumstance in your personal statement. I wouldn't suggest you take too much space up on it. It's a pretty tight character limit anyway, as you'll probably be realising about now. But I would include it somewhere in your statement. And also have your UCAS referee included in their reference. And all this is doing is it's adding extra degrees of confirmation to your situation that will help the admissions tutors understand the impact of your specific circumstance. Obviously you will want your personal statement to focus more on your potential as a student and on your abilities and interests, but it is important to mention your background. However, the most important thing I would suggest is that you spend a bit of time and write a separate statement that focuses in detail on your extenuating circumstances. I would write about what this circumstance is, how it affected you, and how it impacted your academic and your non-academic life. Also try to convey what you've learned and gained from this difficult experience. And this is your chance to show that although you have had difficult experiences which have made life hard, you have the potential and attributes to succeed in your studies and in your future career. Doing all these extra things and filling out the forms and chasing people up for references and things can make the process a little bit more daunting and time consuming, but it really is worth the time and effort that you spend on it. And as I mentioned before, this information is going to strengthen, not weaken your application. So I hope this quick video has been helpful, but if you want some more advice or information, then I've put a couple of links in the description box below, and also there are links to the blog and to Twitter and Facebook and things like that. And if you have had experience of applying to university and have any helpful hints or tips or stories, please do leave a comment. I'll just leave you with this quote by W.B. Yeats, who was an Irish poet, and he said, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire." So until next time, goodbye.